I've never heard language so foul.
Oh, uh-oh.
What Janet's...
Foul smells and foul language?
Both the
What is
smells and
going on?
language are most foul.
Yeah. Hello, welcome to Guides the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are talking about the Conjuring universe. What that is altogether, that group of movies that started with The Conjuring, and also the true story behind the upcoming next Conjuring movie, which ends The Conjuring Phase 1.
The Conjuring Phase 1. Boy, It's been years and years I've been wondering how they would tie together Phase 1 of the Conjuring universe.
I know, and finally we will know in September when The Conjuring Last Rites comes out.
Yes, it is the 4th Conjuring movie.
Uh-huh.
It is the 9th or 10th in Phase 1, depending on how you count.
Yeah, right.
Of a fairly disconnected series of movies starting with Conjuring 1 back in 2013. But now, honestly, the phraseology of marketing or whoever saying, yes, the Conjuring 4, Conjuring Last Rites, that really concludes Phase 1.
Okay.
That made me go like, I'm sorry? Phase 1?
It is so minor, this Phase 1 thing that everybody has grabbed onto.
Okay.
It is like one little comment that everybody then was like, Phase 1, Phase 2, whatever. I bet the guy who said this is like, oh God.
What have I done?
Yeah, totally. Because I looked into all that. This Phase 1, Phase 2 business seems to have been like just kind of like launched off very casually and now has become like, oh.
Is it any wonder though?
Yeah.
It's obvious that people would grab. I certainly was like, wait a minute, because like it conjures up that phrasing. It conjures up obviously
Yes,
the
of
Marvel
course.
Cinematic Universe. Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe led up to Thanos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was the Infinity Stones saga. All these movies are interconnected. All these characters, they know each other. They're going to work together. They're going to fight, and then they're going to confront a big bad. And it's a conclusion,
Right.
but also opening a new door to the next phase.
I certainly.
And how do you do that with Ed and Lorraine Warren?
I have no idea.
Is he back?
Who?
Ed?
Ed's just gonna come back.
Ed's alive again? The ghost of Ed and Lorraine Warren? They're going to be...
I have no clue. I have not. Have you seen like all or many of the? I know you haven't seen the Annabelles, neither have I.
How many Annabelles... You may already know this from research.
I went through all of the Conjuring universe movies. I'm going to tell you all about that stuff.
Thank you.
Yes.
I did a little. I just needed to see a few things in doing
You're such a pain in my ass.
I know.
William, stay in your lane.
I can't.
You
I
have
have.
to. You have
I
to.
have problems.
William, no, you got to fight these problems.
I'm in shock that there are 3 Annabelle movies.
Yeah.
They made 3 Annabelle movies.
One of them sounds good to me, actually.
Really?
I would like to see Annabelle Comes Home.
That's the David F. Sandberg movie, I want to say. He is a filmmaker who I really, really like, although I have not seen many of his movies.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't stay in my lane. I didn't do anything crazy.
I know.
You back off. Anyway, I will be talking about the Smurl family haunting.
Yeah.
Which appears to be, well, not appears to be, it is the focal point of Conjuring Last Rites.
Yes.
The final Ed and Lorraine Warren movie.
Right.
I guess. And we're going to get all into this. And who knows where the night will take us.
Right.
After this commercial break.
Okay, we're back. Before we get into The Conjuring and the Smurls and all this.
Yeah.
There's been another controversy rocking the paranormal community that I think we should touch down on. Zach Bagans cheating on Holly Madison.
Yeah.
Yikes. So, Holly Madison, who is probably most famous for having been Hugh Hefner's longtime girlfriend featured on The Girls Next Door on E! We actually have an episode about The Girls Next Door, kind of, because...
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until just now. But because the Playboy Mansion is said to be haunted, Holly Madison and her now podcast co-host, Bridget Marquardt, are into ghosty stuff.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that on a past episode.
Maybe not anymore.
Yeah, maybe a little bit less so. But anyway, Holly dated Zach Bagans for 6 years, and they broke up in, I think, like 2024. And then, as we're recording this last week, Holly popped up on TikTok and said, like, oh, would love to know the lore behind my ex cheating on me constantly throughout our relationship. I'm paraphrasing. You know, any gals he cheated on me with, come forward. I won't be mad at you. I would just love a little bit more backstory.
Yeah.
And come forward they did. And so the count as we record now is at 11 women, I believe.
Wow.
Who Holly says have come to her with pretty strong receipts and stuff like that. It seems quite...
11 sightings. 11 ghostly encounters.
Right, with Zach
Bagans.
And she has been not shy about posting about it.
Yeah.
Which I applaud her for.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that it may be helping in her healing process to be letting herself get mad.
Right.
Rather than just getting devastated about it.
Right.
Like, externalize this
take him to task.
Yes.
Listen, he's a public figure, and this is the kind of, airing of dirty laundry that I think we can all applaud, quite frankly.
Yeah.
It sounds like, is anyone shocked?
I guess not. No. I hoped, because I really like Holly Madison. And so, honestly, them being together made me think, all right, he seems like such a jackass on TV.
Yes.
Maybe he's, a little bit better behind the scenes.
We exclusively talk about him being a horse's ass.
Yes, totally.
Exclusively. There are, and amusingly so, on Ghost Adventures, but go back and run the tapes. How many Ghost Adventures episodes have we done?
Oh, yeah.
Where we are talking about how immature he is, how self-centered he is, how much he needs attention and the spotlight. He can't let anybody else, have their time on the show. I am not shocked at all. You want to think on some level that a dude that doofusy on his own show is like, a doofus with a heart of gold or something like that.
Yeah, I have jokingly talked about how he seems, I didn't think he's like the devil or whatever. I was like, well, maybe he's a nice guy. He really loves his dog. I like that.
That's nice. You should. If you have a dog, you should probably like it.
Yeah, totally. He seems very in touch with his feelings. But seriously, him being with Holly Madison made me think, okay, she seems like a very tapped in cool lady. Maybe he's better than I thought. No. He's not better. So yeah, she has been talking about this, and now because I'm on that algorithm, I have a little bit more insight into it.
Okay.
There's a woman who has been posting about how she is, yes, one of these women that he cheated on Holly with, and it was interesting. While they were together, neither of them really were. You didn't see them post with each other and stuff. It just seemed like a super private relationship, which celebrities are in sometimes. And so it was just like, okay, they just don't want to, draw attention to themselves. And I just thought it was that.
Sure.
Now it seems like he may not have kind of claimed her publicly, so he could have his cake and eat it too. And to women who he's trying to date on the side, be like, oh, we're not really together. It's not really that serious. And there's no evidence then for them to see to dispute that.
Right. Yeah. He kept it quiet.
Yeah. Right.
Which aided in his
deception.
Yeah, his deception.
So, this woman posted on TikTok and she was like, so I'm one of these women. He reached out to her because she had posted online an EVP that she caught at his haunted museum. And he DM'd her because she had tagged the haunted museum stuff. And he was like, wow, this seems interesting.
That's how he talks in real life.
Probably. We should investigate this together. And so she went to the haunted museum. He arranged a time for them to meet up. She said she thought that this was going to kind of be almost business meeting or something.
Yeah.
But it was just him. And there's kind of a house or something attached to the haunted museum.
I hope they wash the haunted museum.
And
I hope they turn Robert the doll away.
Poor Robert. He's somewhere else. He's in Florida somewhere.
Okay, all right.
But no, the vibe was much more datey. And then they dated from there. And she just like she was like, okay, I guess he's not dating Holly Madison. I don't really know what the deal is.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. That's just insight into one of the women he cheated with. For further insight into how he was doing this, somebody sent Holly his dating profile.
I read this.
Yeah, that's right. I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I have not gone searching for this information. It usually finds me.
Right. So let me read this to everybody out there. His profile says, "Will your demons play well with mine? I am a TV show host and executive producer for several shows on Discovery Plus. I talk to ghosts on one of them. Own an award-winning museum in downtown Los Angeles. Cigarette smoke is disgusting. I'm picky about my sushi. Been known to wear a top hat. Whoa. IG, real Zach Bagans."
Been known to wear a top hat.
Why are you putting that on your dating
Is that an
profile?
asset or a like?
That's a good question.
Full disclosure, I have been known to wear a top hat.
Yeah, so if that's a deal breaker for you, you might want to back off now. So that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
I also think that's crazy to have a dating profile when you're cheating. It's such hard evidence.
Well, I was gonna say, like, that's relatively public.
Yeah, totally. Ballsy.
I don't know.
Nuts. And so the latest on this is basically one of his friends. Holly posted, I think yesterday or a couple days ago, one of his friends has been posting on Holly's posts and being like, "Oh, you're a liar. You guys weren't that serious and whatever." And so she posted and she's like, "Why is this old man?" Well, she didn't say old man. She's like, his friend is like in his 50s. He's posting on my posts saying that I'm lying about things and it wasn't that serious. Like, I just am so disgusted by this whole situation and like bummed that I let this man into my life.
Who wants to be Zach's toady?
I know.
That like you're gonna live your life being like those little friends that Biff has.
Oh, it's not good.
Nice try, Holly. My friend is so cool and virile.
Yeah, it's not a good scene. So that is what's going on. It's not.
Well, it's important information. I can see why we needed to get into it here.
I agree.
Maybe he'll be the subject of phase 2 of the Conjuring universe.
Maybe he should be.
Maybe they can do the sort of reputation, personality whitewashing that these movies have afforded the Warrens.
That's true. I will.
He's just an honest, helpful boy.
He's a sweet, innocent kid.
He's a sweetheart.
I will say, still on the Ghost Adventures Instagram, the comments aren't getting into it. Nobody's like, "How dare you" to Holly. So still blemish.
The Ghost Adventures fans don't even like him. The Ghost Adventures fans at this point.
On Instagram they do.
On Instagram?
Yeah, they may be leaning heavily on the delete button, the Discovery Plus account, but
sure. I've just seen so many people that even purport to enjoy the show being like, this. Wow, totally. This is trash now.
The Reddit, the subreddit for Ghost Adventures is all just
Although admittedly, Reddit can be pretty abrasive.
Totally.
Who knows?
So you have to take into account the platform, I suppose.
Oh, Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach, boy, I sure hope he makes a statement or something. He won't.
No.
Yeah. Between him and Aaron Goodwin.
I know.
Tough. Yeah.
Tough.
This is a rough year.
Mm-hmm.
Although
I guess he's fine. But not Aaron, Zach. Not so rough for him. Just exposed as a dick, but...
But again, is anyone shocked?
No, not shocked. Disappointed. I hoped better.
I'm not even disappointed.
I hoped better for Holly.
I hoped better, yeah.
I hoped that he was a good guy. I hoped they were having a fun night.
I don't want people to suffer or be
no,
cheated on, but Zach Bagans?
I know. I hoped behind the scenes it was going great.
The guy that provokes ghosts?
No.
His first documentary, he sits in a tub and pretends to slit his wrists while making fun of a ghost.
Yes, totally. But
that was our introduction to the world of Zach Bagans.
It was also 20 years ago, so I
You're right. It'd be a shame to judge a person by a metric. Maybe he would disagree with, what he's done in the past. But he just, all signs point to him still being a clown.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely.
My favorite ghost hunting clown.
Certainly true now.
Yeah.
So...
There you
disappointing.
Go.
That's what's up.
Disappointing Zach Bagans. How dare you?
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? What do you think about this man now? Are we gonna continue to watch Ghost Hunt whatever his show is? Ghost Adventures? Who is he?
I mean,
where am I?
What's happening? I don't know. I mean, when we watch it, we really rip on it anyway.
Yeah, he's a dump.
I don't know.
I've heard the latest season really stinks. I'd be kind of curious to take a peek.
Was it from me?
No, it was from Reddit, but it was like,
okay.
it was, once again, like they all seem to be very negative on it.
Yeah.
But the tone of people making fun of it this time was really like, wow, guys, could this get any worse? Like, it really was like especially critical.
Yes, because so, I don't keep up with it, but Liz Sauer, friend of the show, was watching this season. She was like, this is especially bad. The vibes are really off. They feel extra like gross and sinister. Check it out.
Sinister.
I don't know if she said the word sinister, but kind of something feels gross and
Interesting.
worse.
Okay.
And so they had an episode with that comedian Matt Rife, was like a special guest ghost hunter. And she was like, check it out. And I was like, ew, this does feel gross. He's just kind of like trying to like impress like the cool new guy.
Zach is?
Yeah,
He's trying to... Mm-hmm. Well, why do they have
like,
guests now?
I don't know.
Remember what happened to Post Malone when he opened the Tippett box?
That's right.
Or didn't open it.
Poor little guy.
Looked at it.
Yeah.
The poor little Post Malone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Whatever.
Yeah. So that's what's going on.
All right.
Current events.
Well, The Conjuring. I really wouldn't mind seeing
Yeah.
The Conjuring Phase 2 continue with other ghost hunters. Like,
Yeah, I wonder if
these are the case stories of someone else. And
Right.
maybe there is a future in which, 30 years from now, we're watching the Zach Bagans movie series,
Maybe. I feel like part of why The Conjuring has been a thing is sort of the optics and the story behind Ed and Lorraine being like, it's kind of wholesome in a way. It's this couple, this older couple. Well, they've whitewashed it to be wholesome. This older couple doing this together.
Makes
And it's
me
kind
want
of
to
hard-
puke.
Oh, I know, it's disgusting. But it's hard to paint him with the same brush.
Well, not if he also has a morality clause in his contract or whatever, like, you will not portray me as anything other than the most moral, pious. It really is sickening. I watched, I put on The Conjuring 3 when I was doing my research. I was like, I just got to see this. I got to look at this again. Conjuring 3 is like, so bad.
It's horrible.
So bad.
Yeah.
And this whole thing's a big shockaroo. Conjuring 1 and 2, pretty famously, like, he like fixes someone's truck, Ed Warren, like in the first one, and then he's working on the family's plumbing in the second one. I was like, I don't remember The Conjuring 3 very well. I just watched it the other day. Kristen, I already don't remember a lot of what I watched. It is a slippery movie to watch.
Yeah.
He doesn't fix anyone's, toilet or anything. He doesn't roll up his sleeves and get to work. But there is...
Well, he's sick.
He's sick. Yeah, he has like a heart attack or whatever. But there is a moment where Lorraine Warren is going to go into a crawl space and he's like, honey, your brooch is going to get dirty or something like that. And it was just like, that's the moment. That was the Ed being so helpful and wholesome moment. Never mind the real life Ed Warren who had like...
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Allegedly or confirmed, I don't remember now.
Yeah.
Like a 16-year-old.
I think 15.
15.
Yes.
Like living in their home and was cheating on Lorraine and and then you get this this wholesome, good Christian couple in the movies.
It's insane.
It really is insane. It's gross to me.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't wait to see how they conclude phase 1.
I know, it's so weird.
If you didn't want us all to hold on to the phase 1 notion, don't say that.
I know.
I'm very curious.
No, I mean, no.
Is this over?
He hasn't said no. Stop! Don't say phase 1. But I was just surprised that the phase 1 thing just comes from a single line in one interview. I guess I thought that it was a bigger deal.
Words matter. Of course. Word choice matters.
Of course.
And no one wants to really end these movies. They're far too lucrative.
They're insanely lucrative.
And the idea that Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga might be done with the new movie, which is called Last Rites, like, oh no, is the gravy train, arriving at the last stop? Or can we somehow keep this going? So I'm sure that it was just and like, that's an optimistic thing to say, like, we're done with phase 1. He's really just saying the door is open for more.
Yeah.
It may not be with these characters. That's all that means.
Yep.
But if we are saying no more Ed and Lorraine Warren, how is this a connected ghost world?
Well, because in the other movies, there's crossover between them. It just won't have the central tent pole of the Warrens, I would assume.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so here's the deal with it. It's it all started, like you said, with 2013's The Conjuring, and this has now gone on to become the highest grossing horror franchise of all time, this whole Conjuring universe thing.
Which makes sense. Listen, I'm fairly critical, I think, of the Warrens and the sort of vibe of their characters, but these movies have by and large been very entertaining. I like The Conjuring one.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Some of that is James Wan directing and like having like the clapping game, which I remember as a standout.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Bathsheba Sherman.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of the ghost of that movie. Bathsheba
Miss Sherman.
Sherman.
Miss Sherman, if you're nasty. Yeah, so no, that movie's sweet. I also like the second Conjuring. I do think the third one sucks. But yeah, that one was a big hit, and then it just like spawned a ton of other movies that were all like, I don't know, collectively super successful. So I am going to tell you how we as a society experienced the rollout of The Conjuring Phase 1.
Yes, please.
But then I'm going to give you a brief chronological in-universe timeline. So like The Nun took place in the 1950s.
Oh, right.
But we experienced it in the middle of The Conjuring.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. As the movies were released versus like what is the story of this world? Right. Yeah.
But it will be spoiler free. So
oh,
I'm just gonna
interesting.
Give you
okay,
like a glancing over thing. All right. So what happened was The Conjuring came out in 2013. Then we had Annabelle, which is about that haunted doll, 2014.
Annabelle second.
Yes.
That was the second movie released, was Annabelle.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Then The Conjuring 2, 2 years later, 2016. Then Annabelle Creation the next year.
Okay. So we're just alternating Annabelles and Conjurings.
So far. Then we've got The Nun. The year after that. The year after that, we got another Annabelle. This is Annabelle Comes Home. After that, it's a 2-year gap. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. That's the third stinky movie. Then 2 years after that, 2013, we've got The Nun 2. And now...
Wait, what year was The Nun 2?
2023. Did I say 2013?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. 2023. And now we will have the conclusion, The Conjuring Last Rites, coming out in September 2025.
Well, but wait a minute. Didn't you skip one?
No, I didn't.
What's going on?
I did not. Okay, so interestingly absent from this list is 2019's The Curse of La Llorona, and this is a matter of some debate, with the general sentiment seeming to fall on the side of it not being a part of the Conjuring universe, despite there being a character from Annabelle in the movie, Father Perez, and a bunch of Conjuring producers and behind the scenes people being involved in the movie.
Yes, the priest,
yeah.
Annabelle priest is in the movie. I watched this movie.
Yeah.
Here's the shock.
Yeah.
Annabelle is in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's crazy that this is like not officially part of the universe.
This is the year of La Llorona for me.
Yes. It's true.
Kristen and I on the Netherworld Dispatch, the Patreon show, Kristen did a tarot reading for me, and one of the cards pulled for me in the future was La Llorona, who is a figure of infidelity.
Yeah.
And so now it's become a shorthand between me and Allie to be like, whew, okay. We're like a quarter of the year in. No La Llorona yet. Okay, we're good. We're good. So I was looking at the Conjuring world and I was like, what was with that La Llorona movie? So I put it on. I don't understand. I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
The movie is fine. I mean, whatever. La Llorona is a woman in white. She was, the whole legend of her was that she had drowned her kids, and now, almost like The Ring or something, she like grabs onto the arm of, what is her name?
Annabelle?
No.
I haven't seen this movie.
Who played Velma in the live action Scooby-Doo? I love Linda Cardellini.
Yeah.
Apologies to Linda Cardellini. I like you quite a bit. I just couldn't think of your name. Yeah. She like grabs Linda Cardellini's arm and she's sort of marked. Like, my kids might get La Llorona next.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly effective. Perfectly acceptably, mainstream PG-13 horror, whatever. But there is a priest who's like, I've experienced something like this before. And then they like smash all these flashbacks. He goes, there was a doll. And they show Annabelle They like show him carrying Annabelle around or whatever. I've never seen the Annabelle movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, they could not tie it harder.
Right.
It's just all of a sudden this sharp digression into being like, surprise, this is part of the Conjuring universe. So all these years later for them to go, it's really not. It's not part of the Conjuring universe at all. It's like, well, then why in the middle of the movie do they all of a sudden flash to images of Annabelle the doll while an old man says, I've seen a ghost before?
Yeah, it's...
in a doll you may have heard of called Annabelle Creation.
I know. How could it possibly not be part of it? It's
so
weird.
Obtrusive.
The director, Michael Chavez, says that because one key producer wasn't involved, that negates its entrance into the Conjuring cinematic universe. This is a quote from him. He says, "There's so much debate about it, and I think I've played coy in the past. One of the reasons that it couldn't formally be a part of the Conjuring universe is it didn't include one of the key producers, Peter Safran. The Conjuring is his baby. And then it's also not in the Warner Brothers Conjuring universe Blu-ray collection. So it's just been excluded, even though that seems to make no sense. Because if what makes it something part of the Conjuring universe is having crossover with other movies that are obviously firmly in the Conjuring universe, like Annabelle, and Annabelle is in this movie, like how is it not? But it's not.
Yeah, I just don't understand why you can be like, yeah, The Nun 2. Yeah, that happened in a world where Ed and Lorraine Warren exist as real people. Sure, totally. The Nun 2 happened. But you're like, La Llorona?
Yeah.
No.
I know.
That's a stretch.
I know.
Like, what?
It seems to make no sense.
This Michael Chavez, by the way. He directed La Llorona.
Yeah.
He directed The Nun 2. He directed The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Uh-huh.
And he's directing the new one.
Oh,
so when all is said and done,
he's firmly ensconced in this universe.
He will have directed almost like half of the Conjuring universe movies.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I guess he deserves to have a say then. But,
certainly.
It's certainly weird.
It's just odd.
And Reddit seems to largely acquiesce to this thing that it's a standalone story with some crossover elements, but that it's confusing. And there's some suggestion that it's just a stinker of a movie and any Conjuring stuff was thrown in to try to help at the last minute.
Yeah, I also do think I remember. I may be wrong. I almost feel like I saw The Curse of La Llorona being marketed as standalone. And then at some point, someone said, no, wait, it's part of the Conjuring universe.
That is what happened.
Maybe they just reshot a moment with that priest to tie it in. And then later we're like, well, that didn't work.
Right.
Well, then it's not. Well, I'm sorry. You made the choice to put Annabelle the doll in there. She's in now.
Totally.
We're connected.
It feels to me like spiritually it is or should be. I don't understand. But officially it's not.
Yeah, so strange.
I know.
It's like just all of a sudden being like, Thor? Yeah, that's not... He's not part of the universe.
Right.
Like, okay, why?
Yeah.
What?
I know. I don't get it. So anyway, back to what is actually officially in the CCU.
Yes, thank you.
The Conjuring Cinematic Universe. So as we watched those movies come out, we're thrown back and forth in time and space. From the Middle Ages to the 80s, from Romania to France to the UK to the good old US of A. But if you were to watch them in movie chronological order, here is what you would do.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to give you what I was saying before. And as I said, this is going to be spoiler free. Just kind of like a glancing overview of, in order of years going by, what's happening in this Conjuring universe. We would start with The Nun 1. There's a duke in the Middle Ages who built an abbey in Romania to worship demons and such, but the Catholic Church heard about it and claimed the abbey for their own. However, bombing during World War II awoke the duke's original evil, and Valak, the defiler, the profane, the Marquis of Snakes, becomes the nun and starts wreaking havoc in the early 1950s.
Valak is the face of the
nun.
Conjuring universe, like was in The Conjuring 2, the scary nun.
Yeah.
Very effective look.
Yeah. Valak's really got the moves. What did I
Looks
notice?
like Art the Clown in a habit.
Yeah, totally. So my friends Mike, Sarah, and I got together and watched, what's it called? The Princess Diaries. I was going to say The Princess Bride.
Okay.
The Princess Diaries. Because we wanted to watch a stupid movie and we heard The Princess Diaries was getting remade, and we're like, okay, let's get on the ground floor. And we watched it, and I noticed the actress who plays Valak in a very fringe nothing scene.
Really?
Very pleased
yeah, her name
with
is
myself.
Bonnie something.
Yep.
She's really great. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
She was just like sitting at a table in like a fancy scene with other queens and stuff, and I don't know, got like dessert thrown in her face or
It's
something.
like Valak.
Yeah, and I was like, is that the nun?
She get like a whipped cream pie in her face,
like
so
that.
it made her countenance became that of Valak.
I wish. Okay, next we have Annabelle Creation. This is the sequel, the first sequel to Annabelle. A nun who actually lived in the Abbey from The Nun.
Okay.
Is running an orphanage in the mid-1950s in the California home of a doll maker and his wife who lost their daughter Annabelle and are tricked by a demon to be able to see her once again. One of the children in this orphanage finds a freaky doll and weird things start happening around it. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was the creation of Annabelle.
Right.
In Annabelle Creation. That's the one that I've heard is all right. That's David F. Sandberg, I think.
Okay. Or is it? I was saying that the one I want to see is Annabelle Comes Home.
Oh, okay. That's the third one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Then we have The Nun 2. Now it's France in 1956, and Valak the Nun is back and as scary as ever. And this time, she's not confined to causing chaos just in the walls of the Abbey. She's after a certain relic that can make her all-powerful. And though she's doing scary things like lighting priests on fire, the good guys must stop her.
Did you?
This is The Nun 2.
I saw this.
Okay.
Did you?
No. I haven't seen most of these.
I seen it.
I've seen it. I guess I've only seen the Conjuring movies and The Nun 1 out of all of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Nun 3 should be called The Nun 1. Like
Yeah.
she wins.
None too good. Yeah.
That's how you remember
Nun 1,
which
none too
nun
good.
is the good one. None too good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good too. Yeah. Okay. Now we have Annabelle the Original comes next. In 1967, a husband gifts his pregnant wife a freaky doll found in California.
That's what happens in that movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he
Not comforting.
He gives her that freaky doll that, it comes after this movie in our real world. But
Sure.
back in the timeline, he found this doll thinking it'll be perfect for their baby's nursery. Soon after, they experience a home invasion from satanic cult members, one of whom is named Annabelle. Frightening things start happening in the home around the doll. Coincidence?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Now we've got The Conjuring, the original. It's 1971, and Ed and Lorraine Warren are cloying demon hunters called to help the Perrin family in Rhode Island, whose farmhouse is experiencing a lot of bumps and claps in the night. I've seen this movie and enjoyed it.
So wait a minute. Now that you've laid out this entire runway,
Yeah.
you could do prequels with young Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yes,
Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, that's what's going on here in The Conjuring 1. And they drop 2 nuggets of Conjuring universe lore in
I
this
dropped a
movie.
couple of nuggets from those jump scares.
I think we all did.
Bathsheba! Oh,
The Shermans.
the Sherman. The Nun and the Sherman. One of
Seems
the
like quite a
other
different
less
movie.
successful spin-offs.
The Sherman. That just seems like a dork.
Yeah, the Shermanator
Yeah.
from American Pie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Shermanator. Oh god, I snorted like the Shermanator. Okay, so they dropped 2 nuggets of Conjuring universe lore in this movie: a reference to checking out a case in Long Island, Amityville,
Yeah.
and a lecture the Warrens are giving about Frenchie from the Nun movies and his possession by Valak. This is the first movie of the whole universe, mind. And
Right.
they dropped this.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear all about this movie, we talked about it in episode 90, The Conjuring. So if you want to go back and just hear all about The Conjuring, we've got that. Next comes Annabelle Comes Home. All right, it is 1972 now. This is the 3rd Annabelle movie, and we are well into Conjuring mania in our world. Just to orient us. The Collider article that I used for this timeline to to put together, this is in the show notes, says it feels like this movie was potentially trying to set up a ton of potential Conjuring universe spin-offs because there's a lot going on in the movie. They're just like dropping like, oh, this is a cool character, this is cool, to maybe be like, this could be its own nun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they already have that mechanism.
Well, but this one is aplenty because the plot of this is that the Warrens now have Annabelle in their Connecticut home after helping that family that had her. And when they leave their daughter with a babysitter for the weekend while they go hunt demons, Annabelle is accidentally awakened, and then she awakens a bunch of other artifacts in the museum.
Ah, okay. So it's the mechanism I was thinking of. I was like, they've got their museum of stuff. That's the thing.
Right.
But Ed and Lorraine Warren are in Annabelle 3?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It sounds good to me. Annabelle wakes up like, I don't know, this monkey and this doll and this whatever. And there's like all this shit going on.
Just pops off. Yeah, like Mr. Marbles running around the house in the night.
Right.
I would watch that.
Right, sounds good.
We do. Someday we got to cover the Annabelle movies.
The other two do not sound good to me at all. So
I just can't believe there are 3 Annabelle movies. I just am like in shock.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe they're good, but reading about them and like looking at trailer stuff, I was like, I have no desire to watch these. But Annabelle Comes Home, I was like, ooh, I like this.
Yeah.
All right, next up came in the timeline comes The Conjuring 2. And this is the England Crooked Man one, where the nun is first introduced to us in our real timeline. It's 1977 in this movie, and the Warrens go to help the Hodgson family, who are experiencing a lot of poltergeist activity, and they play guitars. Lorraine keeps seeing visions of Valak the nun. And we get into all of this in episode 236, The Conjuring 2, and in episode 254, The Pied Piper and the Crooked Man. So if you want to go listen to those on the Guides to the Unknown feed.
Yeah, the Pied Piper, I just remember, like, hasn't for a while that I've seen anyway, kept being used in movies where they're like, my God, Freddy Krueger is like the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Yeah.
The Bye-Bye Man, he's kind of like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. It's like, why is everyone all of a sudden talking about the Pied Piper? I needed to know. Yeah, I remember that.
All right. Next up was The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, that third Conjuring movie. This is the last one.
Officer, it made me do it.
It makes me do a lot of things.
Anyone get that reference? That's the hardest reference to get, I think. All right.
I think so. This is the last one that's out right now. This is the third Conjuring movie. It took place in 1981, and Arnie Johnson is using devil possession as his defense in a murder case, supported by Ed and Lorraine. And they were able to sway Johnson's lawyer to believe in such things with a little visit to Annabelle. Ed is in bad health for much of the movie, but builds Lorraine a disgusting gazebo to celebrate their love.
That's correct.
Yes. And we talk about the possibility of this being the plot of the movie, but we don't get into the actual movie because it wasn't out yet. In episode 94 of Guides to the Unknown, The Conjuring 3? ?
Yeah, we were trying to predict the plot, and that seemed to be the one that they were going to cover.
Yeah,
we've got a long tradition of talking about the real life Conjuring stories here on the show.
That's right. And so that brings us up to date. But coming up is, like we said, The Conjuring Last Rites. It's going to come out September 5th, 2025. And we don't know a ton about the plot yet. The official Warner Brothers line on it is, quote, paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take one last terrifying case involving mysterious entities they must confront. And the trailer shows them helping a family. Duh.
Yeah.
It has a lot of shots of them being interviewed, giving lectures. So I think it might want to highlight how famous they became potentially. And shots of their home museum. Ed says, nothing here is a toy, not even the toys. And the trailer ends with Lorraine looking horrified while a demon voice says, we've been waiting for you so patiently. Which is kind of creepy. And I'd say the first time I watched it, I was like, meh, whatever. And then the second time I watched it, I was slightly more intrigued, meh. I don't know if I started to get Stockholm Syndrome from doing all this research, but I was like, this looks kind of good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So, phase 2.
Yes, right. Phase 2. What could possibly go beyond that? I'll talk about the Smurl family in the second half. But yes, let's try to predict what could possibly come after this.
Well, here's the thing. So, this phase 1, phase 2 talk is really coming from a single Hollywood Reporter interview with Richard Brenner, the president of New Line Cinema. And here is that part of this like way more wide-ranging interview just about like the status of like all New Line movies. The interviewer said, "How much more gas is there in the Conjuring tank?" And Brenner said, "It's testing through the roof and we're only at the director's cut, the 10-week part of the movie where you're normally very, very scared about the status of your film. We're very early in the process, have very preliminary visual effects, but it's already through the roof. So while this is the last of what we call phase 1, we're hopeful that we can make more."
Okay. All right. This is the last of what we call phase 1. It could mean, even per them, it could be the absolute conclusion or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like people really jumped all over that, and it was just kind of like not that big a deal. So, who knows? Phase 2 is TBD. And yes, I wonder if it could be prequel kind of stuff.
Do you need the Warrens still?
I think they would probably want the Warrens.
I bet you could attempt...
You don't need, but I think that, like, The Nun is such a big deal and does so incredibly well that you could build a lot around The Nun.
I think you could do 3 prequel movies about Ed and Lorraine Warren first building their museum or whatever. Like, the first few... See the case that started it all. Like, the market, it all writes itself.
Totally, because this is the marketing for this is the case that made them retire. Yeah,
this is really saying like the Smurls, like this is it.
Yes.
And the Smurl story, just to preview, like it takes place in 1986, and Ed and Lorraine Warren, like Ed dies in 2006. Lorraine Warren lives until 2019, I want to say. But they're saying like this is the last story for them. So unless you get them to come back older and reveal like the hidden thing they never told anyone about.
Right.
This does seem to be the final story.
Yeah, totally. The interview, it's Teeny Weeny, went on to say, so you guys are MCUing this? What's phase 2? And then Brenner said, phase 2 is TBD. And the interviewer said, where's the next Conjuring coming from? And he said, we have a lot of great stuff in the works. I'll just say it because it's of interest to, because we like horror stuff. And we're also making our second Evil Dead movie with plans for a third as well. But there are also new fresh ones that you haven't heard of that we believe in success will have multiple installments. So he just totally veered away from the question.
Yeah, I think I don't think the Conjuring universe is done. I think they could do and probably will do a prequel thing about young Ed and Lorraine Warren encountering their first artifact, the initial part of their collection. I think you could even take it further back, like use that prequel thing set in like the, what would that be, 50s or 60s or whatever, to say that they were mentored by some spiritualist thing, and then you can take a story further back in time, get into the spiritualist movement of the 1800s.
Yeah, totally.
Like have an older Conjuring.
It's all connected.
Bring in, a young buck who has like a flair for the dramatic, and then you've got the Zach Bagans series of movies.
Of course.
Didn't he fight a demon called like Zazu or something like that?
Oh, right. What was that? We did talk about that. I don't remember.
The Zozo demon.
Zozo, yeah.
The Zozo demon. Or was that Paranormal State?
It is. No, it's Zach.
It's Zach Bagans?
Now I don't know.
You get the Paranormal State spin-off. You get the...
Well, I mean, Lorraine Warren was on Paranormal State.
You get the Ghost Pimps.
Yeah. It's about time that we gave them more shine.
We're looking forward to a whole slate of exciting movies in phases 3, 4, and perhaps even 5.
Wow.
Stay tuned to this channel for further activations and news as the nuggets drop.
Yes. Oh, God.
Anyway.
So that's that.
So The Conjuring will never die.
Yeah, no.
Even if this is the final last rites, I would not be shocked if it continued on.
It's insanely profitable.
But the future is unwritten. Make it a good one.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So Will is going to tell us all about the Smurl family. But first, the gorgeous name, we are going to tell you about patreon.com/GT2UPod. This is where you can go if you'd like to support the show, and you get a ton of bonus stuff back in return as a thank you for doing that, because we super appreciate everybody who donates to the show.
Yes.
We have a weekly podcast called the Netherworld Dispatch that comes out every Monday that you can get. We also have a Discord that people are talking in every day. You get ad-free episodes of Guide to the Unknown. movie commentaries, a newsletter. It's great.
It's wonderful. Yeah. It's very, very fun. It keeps us thriving, keeps us alive. The most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch is episode 214, Sinners. We talked about the somewhat new movie from Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Sinners. I finally saw it. You saw it. It took us a while to see it.
Yeah.
But then we had a lot to say about it.
Yes, definitely.
So go check out the review. Spoiler alert, I loved it.
Same.
We also have a lovely review here. We like reading reviews. This one comes to us from Why Not Try Again, titled Absolutely in Love. Me and my mom listen to you guys all the time, and one year she bought me a Guide to the Unknown shirt.
Oh.
When my mom made a post, Will commented on it, which made my day. And then a month later, I got a friggin' Christmas card from them. I think about that a lot. Thank you for updating me on the latest spookies for years. I think I mistyped that. Evelyn, age 13.
Okay, this, I believe, is Kate's daughter, if I'm remembering correctly. If I'm wrong, I'm very, very sorry. But that is so nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
It's lovely. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you for listening. Hope that you continue to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
I think I've let my potty mouth run a little rampant lately. I'm going to try to tamp that back down. This reminded me that I enjoy the vibe of families listening.
To let their kids listen. You know what I mean? That's okay.
I know.
That's all right. That is so sweet.
So sweet. Hi, Evelyn. Thank you very much. Thank you for that lovely review.
Yes.
And everybody out there, if you are of a mind like Evelyn to leave us a review, consider writing one up on Apple Podcasts. You can leave stars on Spotify. I think bizarrely we are on IMDb.
Right.
Someone put all our shows on IMDb.
Yeah. I bet it's just automatic.
It's like an AI thing. Yeah, whatever. It's just weird.
Yeah.
We're on Audible.
Okay. All right. Well,
we're on a bunch of places that I didn't realize we were.
Yeah.
But if you want to leave reviews, that'd be lovely.
Wherever you listen would be great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're going to talk about the Smurl family haunting after one more commercial break.
All right. Smurl me.
Okay. The thrill of your life. The Smurl of your life. Yes. I kept almost writing Smurf.
I can see that.
It also autocorrects to Smirk quite a bit. The Smirk family.
Very good.
There was no smirking going on.
I'll bet not.
The case of the Smurl family haunting, it seems to go from the early 70s to the mid 80s. I think it's 73. The Smurl family. It's Jack and Janet Smurl. They have 2 daughters. They end up having more kids while they live in the house, but it's an interesting house. Quite frankly, looking into the Smurl family haunting really kind of made me excited for the Conjuring 4 for Last Rites or whatever. It's a great setup. I think it's going to be a back to basics kind of story for the Conjuring, which will be great. Jack and Janet Smurl and their kids live in a duplex. So they live in one house, and connected to their house on the other side of a wall is Jack's parents, John and Mary Smurl. And the haunting that they encountered goes back and forth through the wall into each other's houses.
Oh, man.
There is some declaration in here, because in some ways I should say that this is also a very familiar type of haunting case.
Yeah.
Which I think is perfect for a movie to get back to. You remember you liked The Conjuring 1?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cool house for The Conjuring 1. But it's said at some point in all these sources that I have that they would do exorcisms, and the ghost managed to avoid them by just going into the other house.
That's awesome.
And then they would go to the grandparents' house, and it would come back through the wall. And it's just that's almost like a slapsticky Three Stooges kind of thing.
Totally.
He keeps going through the wall when we try to exorcise him.
Right. I wonder how thick a wall has to be for you to avoid being exorcised. Because, could you just go to a different room?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It's so strange.
In the same house?
I guess, yeah. It knows the laws of an exorcism only pertain to one domicile.
Right.
Right. If technically someone else lives on the other side of the wall, it can't go. The exorcism can't go there. Right. Only the ghost can go through the wall.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, now, here are my. I got to get my sources out of the way because there's a lot going on here. 1, the Smurl case has been talked about a lot online.
Mm-hmm.
2, the Smurls, alongside Ed Lorraine Warren, wrote a book called The Haunted, which I got and I read a bunch of. 3, that book was made into a TV movie, which I watched.
Yeah.
So I've got Smurl fever.
Oh, yeah.
You know, call me Milton Smurl. I'm like all over these puppies.
Ew, I am so grossed out by Milton Berle, by the way. I can't remember what was on recently, but
Saturday Night Live movie.
Well, that too.
Your Uncle Milty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something just in the last few days was about Milton Berle and his giant wiener and him commenting on it. And I was like, I hate this.
Yeah, he and Bruce Willis went to the urinal together to compare. Talk about the return of Bruno.
Did they talk about this on Red Letter Media?
Maybe.
On
Maybe.
The Color of Night?
Possibly.
I think it was that.
It was that?
I think it was that.
Yeah, maybe.
Ugh, God.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Milton Berle.
Disgusting.
Good God. Well, this takes place in like the 80s. Milton Berle could show up technically.
I wish you wouldn't.
Milton Berle
really
cameo
wish you wouldn't.
In the new Conjuring movie. It sounds cool.
It sounds cool.
It sounds cool. So the Smurls buy this duplex.
Yeah.
Along with Jack Smurl's parents in 73, and they instantly have to start renovating the place. It's a little rundown. So, you know, they're fixing doors that are like swinging off the hinges, but they almost immediately sort of encounter low-grade hauntings type stuff. You know, Jack is working under the sink to fix something. He's like, where'd my hammer go? I just had it.
Yeah.
And yeah, very, very sort of like simple type hauntings. I'm gonna shock you. Researching the Smurls it scared me. And I got very scared the other night.
Cool.
And I found all of this, as familiar as this type of haunting information is, truly spooked me.
That's excellent.
It didn't help that I had also recently seen a photograph of Kayako.
Yeah. I was just wondering if it was the same night.
It was the same night. Yeah. Chrissy and I can't announce something yet, but it's very fun so far. And as part of our work as professional writers, I had to look at a photograph of Kayako.
And it must have just cast a sheen of fear over everything else you did that night.
Well, long-term listeners may realize that I have a weak spot for Kayako. I both love and looking at Kayako from The Grudge just scares me.
Yeah.
And then I continued researching the Smurls, and it was nighttime. Everyone was asleep in my house, and I got scared. I got truly scared. I really got like that paranoia, little kid scared. Anyway, here's part of the reason why. This is from the book, 1975. One of the daughters, Dawn, several times ran into her parents' bedroom screaming that she'd seen people floating around in her room.
Ooh.
Each time, Jack would go to Dawn's room and investigate, but he was unable to find anything. 1983, also from the book, quote, for most of 1983, the Smurl household smelled sourly of some foul but inexplicable odor. At first, the girls joked that it was Jack's smelly feet.
That's great.
This is all a quote from a book.
Yeah.
But no matter how the family searched, they could neither find the odor's source nor rid the house of it. What Jack recalls thinking back is that the odor first appeared during a time when he was kneeling before his bed saying the rosary.
Ooh.
A lot of smells.
Yeah.
If they do like an exorcism or say prayers, the house smells like roses.
Ooh.
But that smell will soon dissipate, and then this like sour smell and haunting stuff will come back, which is interesting. 1986 is when everything really pops off.
Yeah.
This is what scared me. Janet Smurl is in the basement doing laundry when she hears her mother-in-law, who she just calls Mother in the TV movie, calling for her. So it's an older woman's voice going, Janet. Janet. And Janet goes like, I'm coming, Mother. I'll be right there. And comes up the stairs and then hears the voice, Janet, calling back to her from downstairs.
Yeah.
And it scares her. It scares me.
Yeah.
Sitting alone in my home.
Awesome.
It's like the sort of like phantom voice thing.
Yes.
Again, it's familiar, but there was something about the application. And I'm viewing everything from a fictional perspective because I struggle to believe these things.
Yep.
But reading it scared me. Seeing it in the TV movie, which is on YouTube, The Haunted, and I, quite frankly, very much recommend the TV movie. It's 90s, so it looks a little corny, I guess, and it looks cheap because it's a TV movie, boy, is it effective.
Yeah.
It is very, very fun. Highly recommend The Haunted, and it actually scared me. It turns out that her mother-in-law is, of course, not even in her house. She's in the other part of the duplex in her own home.
Yeah.
And when she goes over there and she's like, I thought I heard you calling for me. It turns out that her mother-in-law had experienced something herself. She said, I've never heard language so foul.
Oh, uh-oh.
What Janet's...
Foul smells and foul language?
Both the smells and language are most foul.
Yeah.
It turns out that Mary Smurl, the grandmother, thought she was hearing Janet and her own son, Jack, like cursing, just like using bad language. They don't say what it is.
Yeah.
They're like, I've never heard, my son would never use those words.
Yeah.
It must have been your influence on my boy. Meanwhile, everyone looks like they're in their 50s. Almost everyone looks the same age.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Just like, and then later at night, Janet thinks she feels Jack touching her.
Oh.
There's a whole element that I don't know if is going to be in the final movie. First of all, in the 1991 TV movie, they show the ghost sort of like grabbing onto Janet's thigh, and it looks like the special effects from Hollow Man.
Yeah.
In 1991 on TV, of like her skin just sort of depressing, like where fingers are grabbing her. Now, I had already seen that there is some element of the Smurl family haunting that is ghost succubus sexual assault. It is not Janet, it is Jack. Jack is attacked by a succubus, and it's shown fairly graphically in the 1991 movie. And so he's like on his back on the ground, and he's looking up at this ghost that's on top of him.
Yeah.
And it keeps flashing between very shining of like, oh, a young, beautiful woman. Oh no, a witch looking person.
Yeah.
Whatever. But so there is this weird physical element. It's hard for me to imagine the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, right. Like going
tackling
there.
that. Yeah, I'm very curious how that will go, because it was very, admittedly, it was rough.
Yeah,
it was a rough read and a rough watch.
Yeah.
There's a growling, sort of screaming black smoke thing that appears in their house, and finally, Jack appears to see it as well. Although the men don't really believe their wives. And Janet starts doing a ton of research. She finds out that this house, the duplex house, was built above old mines. Now, this is from the book. The mine cave-ins were so prevalent and dangerous in the late 1930s and early 1940s that schools had to be closed. Someone who spent time investigating occult matters speculates that the cave-ins may have caused demons to rise up from the ground, used for satanic purposes. He mentions finding pig bones beneath an excavated house. The bones were pointed in the shape of a hexagram, the sign of the devil.
My God.
So evil coming from underground, some sort of like, horror connected to mines. Like, I've never heard of that before. It's interesting. Weird sounds come from under Janet's pillow. What? She like wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like, what is that sound? But she sits up, she can't hear it anymore. Yeah. She lies down, you just hear this like,
oh my God.
Almost like you have a speaker under your pillow. Yes. And she wakes up Jack and he's like, I don't hear anything. And she goes, here, lie in my spot.
Yeah.
And he puts his ear to her pillow and he can hear it too.
Oh my God.
So it really is like there's a speaker under her pillow and he's like, all right, you sleep on my side of the bed tonight, hon.
Yeah.
And now the men are starting to sort of like take it seriously.
More seriously.
Yeah. Here's where the Warrens come in. Now, the book is written with Ed and Lorraine Warren as well.
Yeah.
In the movie, the TV movie, they sort of just come in and then are gone. I'm certain that the upcoming film, they'll be here the whole way through to the bitter end, and they're going to save the day.
Yes.
As they also, like brush the Smurl family's teeth for them and stuff or whatever.
Right.
They got to take care of them.
Of course.
So, according to the Warrens, there are 4 spirits haunting the Smurl family in the early 80s. A confused old woman who is harmless. A young girl who may be violent. A man who, quote unquote, suffered terribly and died in the house. But that 4th spirit, Kristen, that 4th spirit is a demon.
Oh, no.
Who is using the other 3 to destroy the Smurl family.
Oh, no.
It's horrible news. Horrible news.
Yeah.
Ed and Lorraine think that maybe the renovations of the house stirred up the spirits, which is not dissimilar from the mines being closed.
Right.
right?
Yeah, totally.
These things can kind of go dormant
Yep.
until the environment changes.
Yes.
Which is interesting. They also mentioned...
William, there's going to be a renovation at my house in a few weeks. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I'll see you on the other side of the veil, Kristen.
Yeah. We may be in danger, grave danger.
That's a wrap on Kristen. Thanks, Kristen, for joining us. You're done.
It's been nice, everyone.
Renovations. Are you mad?
They're cracking into the foundation.
What are you, nuts? That's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good. Is it too late to stop it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my. Get yourself a contractor who's also a demonologist.
Yeah.
You know, you need a double threat there.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we can sprinkle something protective under the slab.
Maybe. Yes, they're going to be like in La Llorona they use like cocoa bean shells or something like that. They like sprinkle something. It wasn't salt.
Yeah.
But in the Linda Cardellini movie they do go like, do not move these garbanzo beans. And they do.
All right, maybe I can request to sprinkle some garbanzos below Mom's new shower.
Who put garbanzos in here? You're not supposed to do that.
They're be growing out of her new drain.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a farmer now. Yeah. Grow my own garbanzos in the baño. Garbanos.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ed and Lorraine Warren also mentioned the kids. He says... For Ed Warren to say, knowing what we know about Ed Warren, sort of unprompted. Now, granted, well, all right, I'm just going to say it.
Sure.
He goes, your eldest daughters have passed through puberty.
Oh, God.
And I just wrote, oh, thanks for paying attention, Ed.
Ugh, God.
So, but the point is
I know.
to talk about the poltergeist stuff, as we've talked about on the show before. Like, do these spirits get riled up by... puberty, like all of that, crazy hormonal energy and anxiety and stuff that may rile them up. That's a classic poltergeist thing, so it's germane.
Yes.
But of course, Ed is just like, couldn't help but notice your daughters have gone through puberty.
Yeah, right. No, thanks.
Yeah, I'll see you outside, Ed.
Avert your gaze.
Ed says the demon's very powerful. He, according to the book, saw a dark mass appear in the house, and a message from a demon on the mirror said, get out. I think it could have been the kids.
Yeah.
Who just wrote on the mirror,
yeah.
Get out of my house, Ed.
Yeah, it's enough already.
It wants to destroy your family. You'll have to fight it as a family. And that's when I wrote,
United.
Wow, the laundering of their reputations was already in full effect in 1991.
Yeah.
They go on a camping trip.
All about family values.
The Smurls decide to get their family out. I loved this. This is like a great case of the 1991 TV movie.
Yeah.
Being like a really effective, scary movie.
Yeah.
They go out camping to leave the house alone. And everyone seems to be having a good time. Until they cut back to the house, which is empty.
Yeah.
No one's in it. But all the neighbors are coming out of their own houses and standing in the street facing the Smurl house.
Uh-oh.
There's up in the windows, a light is flashing, and you just hear this just this roaring, screaming, combination of rage and sadness just happening inside this empty house. And they're all like, my word, what's happening in there?
Yeah.
I thought it was so scary.
That sounds awesome.
Just a voice roaring in an empty house.
That sounds awesome.
Then, at the camping thing, I guess the demon finds them as the black mist appears there by the family. And confusingly, Jack Smurl picks up a rock and goes running at the demon. He's going to brain it with a rock until they're like, Dad, stop it. You don't know what it can do.
Yeah.
So he does stop. It's very lynchy. All these screaming voices. It's really scary. It really feels like Bob from Twin Peaks.
Cool.
Eventually they finally turn to the news to help them. And they then literally they show a good dozen or two reporters almost camped out on their front lawn.
Yeah.
Waiting to cover the story until Jack and Janet come outside and read a prepared statement. When a family is stricken with a tragedy like a fire or a flood, people band together to aid the victims. But what if the tragedy isn't natural, but supernatural? Then it's a different story. As reporters, you can see that this situation is completely out of hand. We ask that you please help us now by leaving us alone and saying a prayer for us in church.
Okay.
And during this, who I wrote down as a rock star priest walks up to the house wearing sunglasses.
Whoa.
He's just in black with his bag and sunglasses on.
Hell yeah.
He is here from the Diocese of Scranton.
Okay.
which made me wonder if like Dwight, could they have had
Not
Dwight
far
come
behind.
in to do a little karate, like he's the assistant to the to the bishop or whatever.
Yeah.
The assistant to the bishop.
Yeah.
He's gonna live with them for a while.
The priest?
Yes, he's been
Okay.
sent from the diocese to
God,
observe.
that'd suck.
He's with them for at least 2 days.
Uh-huh.
But the way it's shot in the movie, they make it look like a montage of like, it looks like weeks have gone by.
Yeah.
They show him sitting there reading the Bible while Jack Smurl's trying to watch baseball and go like, "Did you see that play? Did you see that?" And then the priest is like, "Okay," and like turns a page of his Bible.
That sounds awesome.
Then they cut to Jack and Janet in bed sleeping, and the camera pans over to the open door to the hallway, and the priest is just sitting in a chair awake in the middle of the night. It's like, what? He's there to observe.
Yeah, I guess
makes sense,
he's,
but it's just like-
guarding them.
Oh, they made it
Yeah.
look like, it looked like something out of like Alf or something, where it's just like, he's going to stay with us for a while.
Yeah.
Like they just have a
yeah.
new pet, and he's a
Weird.
priest.
He's a priest.
Yeah.
A cool priest.
So he's useless. He ends up leaving.
Yeah.
And this was a true thing. Like the Diocese of Scranton eventually did sort of go like, we don't know about this. We've seen no harmful activity while on the property.
Yeah.
And then Janet says to him in the movie, she's like, "What, do you think I'm lying?"
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "I don't think you're lying. Sometimes we think we see things.
Yeah.
Horrible things. When we're just not feeling very special in this world."
Oh.
Oh, pardon me.
Okay.
And then as he's like leaving, she goes, "No, please help me. Don't let it kill my children."
Oof.
And he turns back and he goes, "Janet, I've done everything I could. Now let's not do anything we both might regret."
I was getting exasperated now. This woman needs help of some sort.
"Oh, I'm sorry. You come into my house. You eat
Yeah.
my Nutter Butters. Even though I hid them under the couch. And now you're going to put me in my place? I don't think so, Father."
This isn't very priesty. Him being like, okay, enough. I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Aggro.
Aren't you supposed to help
No.
in one way or another?
No.
Ugh.
We're getting to the end
into
here.
it.
We're getting to the end here. Grandpa's had enough. When Grandpa's had enough,
Everyone's had enough.
you clear out, man.
Yeah.
He walks from his side of the duplex with a shotgun
Oh, shit.
and sits on the porch staring at the reporters.
Uh-huh.
And then one of the
my
reporters is like,
God.
"Sir, can you tell us what's going on in there? Can we just see it?" And he goes, "I can't let you in. We've got ghosts, remember? Something bad might happen to you."
Oh.
That's what Grandpa says.
Oh, boy.
And then Jack shows up, and I'm like, oh, fine. Like a voice of reason is going to like tamp things down.
Yeah, yeah.
He storms through the reporters, sees his dad with a shotgun, is like, "What the H?" And then goes inside and grabs his own gun. And then
I'll
says,
join you.
he says to his wife, "Take the girls into the kitchen, and you better pray for me, hun, because that's the only thing that's going to keep me from killing someone."
Oh, my.
And he turns around and leaves the house. It's like, if you're the kids, you're like, "Daddy, are you going to go kill everybody? What do you mean? What's going on?" But as he's standing on his porch now beside Grandpa, each of them toting guns, what happens next is also what seems to happen, in my recollection, in the end of the Muppet Family Christmas.
Okay.
Remember when
Somebody slips on the icy patch?
Remember when the carolers come? Like the
Yeah.
Sesame Street carolers come?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, just all of these good, wholesome people come singing down the road.
Yeah.
And they're each holding candles, and they're singing some version of Ave Maria. Not the version, but they're singing church songs. And they come in, and we get this voiceover from Janet. "The Lord works in mysterious ways. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, he brought the members of the Sacred Heart League to help us." So it's portrayed as if these members of the church are finally coming in to help pray and finally help them. And that's the Lord working in mysterious ways. Also, worth pointing out, Jack has a line when he sees them. He goes, "Oh, I forgot this was tonight."
What?
So they had already planned for the Sacred Heart League or whatever, these singers to come. But then it's also portrayed as if it's some
It's
divine
like, right,
intervention.
right.
I don't know.
So does Jack put down his gun?
Not only does Jack put down his gun,
Yeah.
but he like goes inside. He goes inside with the, what is it, Sacred Heart League. Everyone's inside with candles, and they're singing now and praying inside. In the TV movie, they cut back outside, The reporters now have candles. Some of the reporters are beginning to sing. Some of them even like take a knee.
What? This must be poetic license.
This is such...
This is crazy sounding.
I just can't imagine.
Yeah.
It felt like a Muppet movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like everybody's on the same team, really, at the end of the day.
And did it expel the demon?
Well, that incredible strength lasted longer than anything else we had tried.
Better than the Warrens.
Better than the Warrens, yes. The smell of roses came back. Yeah, community.
The Smurl of roses.
The Smurl of roses.
Yeah. There was a sour Smurl and
the
a rose
Smurl of evil and the Smurl of roses. Yeah. Those are like if they made two movies Smurls. Back and forth.
Yeah.
And then so then this is odd. All right. It's gonna get real messy here at the conclusion.
Okay.
Really messy.
Okay.
This movie this is a 1991 TV movie that I watched, which is an adaptation of a 1988 book.
Yeah.
The 1988 book it was written with them still living in this house.
Yeah.
But they move. So by the time the movie comes out, I guess they were able to say things the book could not. Mm-hmm. In the 1991 movie, it concludes with them saying, "We were forced to move from the house, not by demons, but by the attention."
Okay.
And then, meanwhile, in the book, it ends so inconclusive with Ed and Lorraine Warren's sort of... The book is like almost like... it's assembled as a bunch of different perspectives.
Yeah.
And so this is Ed and Lorraine Warren's perspective on the end. Would a permanent move help the Smurls? Perhaps. Will the haunting continue all their lives? Possibly.
Uh-oh.
Will the family be able to withstand the stress? We hope so.
Oh, God.
As demonologists, neither of us can ever recall a haunting of such tenacity. The demon simply will not be displaced. It has focused its very essence on the Smurl family and will not let go.
Ugh.
Like, how do you end the Conjuring 4?
Yeah, not a very happy
There
ending.
was no ending for the Smurls because the movie continues on with them moving from the house. They say that they were forced to move not by a demon, but by all the media attention. They hated all this media attention, which is why they wrote that 1988 book and then made a
TV movie. Right.
Everything is fine.
Oh.
Jack's like, maybe I should fix that door over there. And Jenna goes like, what door? And he gooses her. Everyone's laughing. You know?
Okay. All right. That's good.
And Janet is working in the kitchen when she hears her mother-in-law calling out, Janet!
Uh-oh.
Janet!
Is it her mother-in-law?
Text pops up on the screen. Supernatural phenomena would continue in the new Smurl home until a church-sanctioned exorcism in May of 1989 ended their ordeal.
Okay. Okay.
So...
Yeah.
And it's unclear to me if the Warrens had anything to do with that.
Right, totally.
Someone moved into the old Smurl house and said they never experienced anything. Depending on where you look, the Smurls perhaps kept experiencing things, even for years beyond 1989.
Yeah.
Also, unclear. Everything is unclear in the end. Everything became unclear.
Yeah.
But I will conclude my explanation of the Smurl family. Like maybe there will be new revelations in the new movie. Who's to say? But this final revelation was a shock to me. In the 1991 TV movie, Jack Smurl was played by an actor named Jeffrey DeMunn.
Whoa.
DeMunn.
Like a demon.
Like a demon.
Oh, no.
My God.
What does it mean?
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Probably something.
That's awesome.
There you go. The Smurls, Kristen. The Smurls.
Cool. Kick ass.
The Smirks. Sorry. As my notes autocorrect. The Smirk family.
The Smurf.
The Smurf.
Yeah.
Holy Smurf, he's quoted as saying.
My phone keeps autocorrecting us to USA.
Oh, wow.
Which is so weird.
Very patriotic.
I know. It's so weird. All right. Well, there you go. Conjuring universe, Smurl family.
Phase 1.
Yeah, phase 1. We'll see what's to come in phase 2.
This is like phase 392 of Guide to the Unknown.
Yeah, of us covering this universe.
Yeah.
So yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. Go check out the show notes for all those past Conjuring episodes, and we'll be back next week with something else.
Yes.
Yep. So go to patreon.com/GTTUpod if you want a ton more episodes right now. We have, I think, 214 bonus episodes to date up there, in addition to a bunch of movie commentaries and stuff. You can also follow us on social media. We are at GTTUpod, and we're also there individually. I am at Chillin' Kristen.
I'm at The Myth Traveler. So we'll see you next week. What will we be discussing? Will it be so scary that we can't stand it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm already frightened.
But until that time comes, we must travel
back to the netherworld to go wait. Gotta get out of here. It's too scary.
I'm so scared.
Here, Smurls are here.
I really made a mistake looking at that picture of Kayako. I can't tell you. I'm not bullshitting you. I know
I believe
it's approaching levels where people are like, I'm so scared of clowns or something like that. That looking at Kayako puts me in a sensitive state of mind where then anything can scare me very easily after that.
It's nice that you know how to put yourself in a right state.
A wrong state. Is that my right state? It's horrible.
Being scared is kind of fun.
It is. It was fun.
Yeah.
Well, I also realized, because I was like, oh man, I have to do that thing where you turn off the lights and then run up the stairs. Am I going to do that at almost 40?
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, I've got the our smart assistant trained on the phrase, like, turn on the first floor. So turn off the first floor is usually what I say when I go upstairs. I was like, what's to stop me from just typing that on my phone from bed? And then I love the idea of using modern technology to best the spirit realm.
There you go.
But then, my God, Alexa was stuck downstairs all by herself.
Oh, no.
With the ghosts.
Poor baby.
Poor baby.
Oh, go.